Yes, guys, welcome back to the Immerse podcast. We're going to do something a little bit different today.
Ooh.
We're going to have a little roundup, and we've decided to do this every now and then to document our journey.
Important.
On this Immerse journey.
Yep.
Hopefully inspire some people along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And today we're going to talk about how to build a brand. Because I feel like we're doing a pretty good job of it.
I think we are.
And it's been quite a ride so far, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So we're going to have a little roundup. We're going to talk about the things that we've experienced so far. I'm actually going to go into a bit of an interviewer mode.
Oh, wow.
And you are the value, my friend.
Okay. That's
so
fine. That's fine.
Are we good to go?
That's fine, mate, yeah. Yeah, just before we start, obviously, you're the professional in the health space. You have been for 20 odd years. Why people might want to take advice from me personally, I've had experience building businesses in the last 6 to 7 years now. Couple that have gone like 6-figure turnover, blah blah blah. But I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying I've done all right.
Evidence.
I've done all right. I've got a bit of evidence, and this one that we're doing right now, this brand that we're building, we've learnt so freaking much, and we're willing to, divulge into any information today, and hopefully give some credible advice for people that might be wanting to start their own brand, wanting to take that step to change their life, become the captain of their ship, make a difference to humanity, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So we're here today, mate, to talk all things that.
We are. And reflect on the journey so far.
And reflect on what's gone so far, yeah.
Good and bad.
Yeah.
Warts and all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we'll be real about it as well. We're not perfect. We're far from it. And we fell into this by default. Some people who have followed us from the start will know that this was a bit of a beautiful accident. It just seemed like everything were lining up to, like, why don't we do this? We're getting approached by a lot of different companies to promote their brand because we were already advocates of cold water. I've obviously been in the health and fitness space for a long time, so it were kind of like, we need to just do this.
Yeah.
Quite naive. We didn't really know the fundamentals of running a product business, but we're learning on the job.
Yeah.
We're far from perfect, but we're growing, and that's the main thing, and we're moving forward.
Yeah.
And we will always continue to do that.
Correct.
So I want to ask you, Al,
Yeah.
if someone's in a position where they feel like, right, I'm a little bit stuck, I don't like my career, I'm in a 9-to-5, I'm not earning the money that I want to give me freedom.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder what, should I start a brand? Should I start my own? What are the types of things that someone needs to be thinking about if they're on that? There's something else on the horizon. What else do you think that somebody needs to put in place in the mindset or the ways of thinking?
I've been in that position many times, and they say that your gut is the second brain, I believe, and you've got to listen to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to look into the camera for this one. I'm going to say, if you're sat in this position right now and you're wanting to make a change, and for whatever reason it's holding you back, I'm just going to tell you this right now. You're the one that can make that change. You've got the power to choose to make the change. And that's, you can fluff it up as much as you want. It always comes back to you having the power to make that change. There's various ways you can go about it. From past experiences for me, I've kind of jumped rather than strategically made the steps, and there's advantages to both ways.
Same. Because we're kind of the same person.
Yeah, obviously.
Weirdly.
Yeah. But if there is something that you kind of know that's calling out, it's calling to you. It's like, okay, I'm really passionate about something. Just start learning. Just start studying. Just start looking at people that are already doing it in the space, how they're doing it. Try connect with people that are already doing it and kind of study what they're doing. When I first...
Can I just say something there? You just said something about passion.
Yeah.
And what if someone's just passionate about money? Do you think that's starting out to be a failure to success? Because I've got my own spin on this, but I want to ask you first.
Right, I can only speak from my personal experience. The first couple of businesses that I built were in an industry that I wasn't particularly passionate about. But I think it can get you to a certain level in terms of monetary levels or whatever. But there'll come a time where you'll come stuck, because I think underlying everything has to be the passion. But that's just my personal opinion. So the previous companies that I've had were in a window cleaning business. I got to a certain point with that where it was growing and growing and growing, but the underlying thing was I wasn't feeling fulfilled. Like the money, numbers and what have you, it were all there. It were growing nicely. But there was something missing internally for me that I needed to be fulfilled in a different way. And that's when, I started the podcast. That was like something that was filling my soul. And obviously from the podcast, it's brought me to your beautiful self, Dan. And we've started the brand. So just on that pursuit of looking for something that really fulfills me internally, there's no feeling like that for me. Money's just, I believe money's a byproduct of offering value. The more value you offer, the money will be there anyway. And I don't think it's a bad thing to prioritise money, because let's face it, we need it.
It's essential. Some people have a funny relationship with money as well, don't they?
Yeah.
Like a negative relationship where they think if you ask for more or you earn more money or we talk about money, it's a bit of a taboo subject. Like, ooh, it's a bit.
No, I think we need to drop that, don't we?
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's totally fine. And, and it's also one thing that I picked up a few years ago was I just heard the phrase and it stuck with me ever since. Not all money is good money. So it's how are you earning this money?
Yeah.
And for example, I wouldn't sell a product to somebody that was detrimental to their health.
Yeah.
So, and then me knowing that the products that we're supplying to people are positively changing them on a mental aspect and a physical aspect. So I feel very comfortable in that knowledge. So I'm good with that. So that's where I think anybody who's thinking about building their own brand, I would say from my experience and my, how it feels to me to earn the money, it's earning the right money, not just the money.
Yeah.
And it will come in time. It is a matter of time.
Yeah.
But yes, I think going back to the passion thing, I strongly believe that if we didn't have the passion that we have for this brand and the mission that we're trying to achieve, and if it were just money alone, we would have quit. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because
how many flipping barriers have come up so far?
And I'll be honest, we haven't taken a single penny out of this business.
No.
We're in year 1. We're 7 months in. Yeah. We haven't physically taken anything from it yet. I'm fine with that.
That's fine.
We are fine with that because we're doing something that we're passionate about, and it's building, and there's growth and there's change, and people will see that. Just like to give a shout out on that note. We're just collabing with Oddballs. Woo! So we've got a nice little dunk trunk collab with Oddballs. We're just starting now. Can't wait to
excited.
rock these bad boys out, and that's it. It's all about the growth and connecting with new people,
collaborating. Yeah, just collaborate with as many like-minded people and brands as you can. That's one of the tricks, really, to how we're growing. Is we've managed to connect with people in the right way, and I think coming back to the passion thing again, when you're connecting with people and they can see that you're passionate about what you're doing, it's almost an instant buy-in for people.
Yeah.
Because if you approach someone where they stand out a mile, don't they? If they're just wanting something from you and they're not offering any value, or it's just a no-go, they stand out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
So again, we come back to passion, but I think it's really important, man. It really is.
Yeah. My next question, Al, is what are some essential... I'll say that again. What are some essential personal development tools that people need to have in their locker to pull off having their own brand?
I've always said this. I think being an entrepreneur and being involved in entrepreneurship is the biggest self-development tool there is.
Yeah.
Do you agree, Dan?
Yeah, 100%.
It forces you to get good at the necessary shit. Otherwise, nothing's going to grow, nothing's going to happen.
I think it reinforces the fundamentals as well.
Correct.
Doing the basics well and just keep showing up.
Yes.
And treat it like, for me, I think it's like treating it like a family.
Yeah.
Nurture it.
Yeah.
Put the kids first.
Yeah.
Put the business first. Not always.
No.
Got to be careful there. But you've got to look at it like taking your own ego away from it and giving the business what it needs and acknowledging when you need to up your game or
definitely
say I'm sorry or do you know?
Yeah. And like we say, me and Dan, we're still a long way off where this is going to be, where it needs to be, because it's not our full-time thing right now.
Yeah.
So we're trying to balance our full-time jobs alongside building the brand, and again, it reinforces the fundamentals you have to get right. So I've got self-awareness is a big tool that you need. You need to be aware. You need to be aware of where you need to improve. You need to be aware of where you need to improve. You need to be aware of what time you're allocating to what. Do you know what I mean? And the time management thing's a massive thing.
Yeah.
You need to be. That's another tool that you need to. And I can see Jess looking at me there. Time management is something that you need to get right, especially when you're trying to balance everything else. You running your own business, family, being a husband, being a dad, and building a brand. It's like, how the hell are you going to fit all that into one day?
Do you think we get it right? Do you think anybody gets that right?
No, I don't think so. There might be a very small percentage.
It tangles me up a lot, and I think it's down to your personality traits as well.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a sucker for being an empath, and I always try and think about other people's needs, and in that, I think about, like, I'm in a relationship. Have I checked in? Have I done what I need to do? Is she okay?
Yeah.
The kids, am I supporting them in the things that they're doing?
Yeah.
Am I making sure that their homework's handed in on time? Just everything, and it's like you can get sucked into that world as well as trying to build your businesses as well. So, and obviously we're both running two businesses, this one and our own as well. So it comes with its challenges.
It does.
But we're down for the challenge again because of the passion. It's what keeps us.
It always comes back ignited. to the core of why you're doing it. Because if you understand why, you're just gonna make it happen. Whatever it takes, really. whatever it takes, it's going to be completed. But you've said it to me before, Dan, about watering the garden, haven't you?
Yeah.
Making sure that each part of the garden has sufficient water. And that's nice, that, Dan. Nice little analogy, that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so true. But like I say, we're still trying to figure that out right now. I think if we go all once we go all in on this brand, I think the time will be obviously easier to manage because there'll be less going on. But in the start, when if someone's in the startup of a brand, they'll be able to relate. It's time is very thin, and it needs to be optimised, however way that can be. But that comes back to then goal setting, and planning, and that's how you can optimise the time. That's another tool that you need. So you need to be able to set the goals. You need to be able to set the mission statement for the business, and that's always something you can aim for, and just work backwards from that. Then continuous learning. That's a tool. That's the best tool that you could probably have, because that's how you're going to continue to grow, continue to evolve, and stay ahead of the competition. Because once you stop learning, you stop growing.
I heard Sam Burgess, rugby league player.
Yeah.
Retired now. Warrington.
Great player.
Warrington head coach. He's doing a great job.
Oh, is he head coach now, yeah?
Head coach at Warrington. He's doing a great job as well.
Nice.
Thought it were a bit too early for him, but anyway.
Yeah.
I heard him say that he spent a lot of time around a senior coach called Wayne Bennett, who coached him at England, and he said that one of the things that he learned from him was to not be the smartest person in the room, and be around people that makes you sit and listen, and observe, and be around other people that are ahead of the game in whatever sense that is. And we've started to do that recently, and take lessons from people that have a lot of value in business and in different areas, e-commerce, marketing, scaling businesses, all these things that we lacked a bit of knowledge in, so we chose to sit and listen, and learn, and I think you've just got to always be prepared to do that, because the competition is fierce once you start to delve into it. This is a growing industry, what we're in right now. Human recovery, it's popping up everywhere. There's particularly ice baths are everywhere right now. So we have to stay ahead, and we have to innovate and think about ways of how we can stand out. Obviously this is one of the main things for us, because it started with this, and I think that's what is one of the things that really sets us apart from other brands that are on the market, is that we were doing this anyway. We weren't doing this to try and help leverage the business. We were doing this anyway, purely out of a passion to inspire and educate other people by the guests that we were speaking to, and the message that we're trying to put out there for other people to learn from. That was the core of it. Off the back of that, it's building more of a brand, and then there's a financial element to it. So it's like, well, what do we need to do now? What do we need to get better at? And it's endless. And that's okay.
It is. I heard a chap called Alex Hormozy say this, and it was, business and life is not about winning, it's just about staying in the game. And I thought, that's exactly what it is. Because at the end of the day, in 10 years' time, if we're still in business and our competitors or whoever else is not in business, who's winning? And if we're still loving what we're doing, and winning's different to everyone else.
I think that's where the win is. It's loving what you do, not resenting the process. And that does get challenged from time to time, doesn't it? Especially when we're in the position that we're in now. We're having to, scramble a little bit at times.
Yeah.
But we're okay with that. For now,
Yeah.
it won't last forever.
No.
And we are in a genuine grind.
Yeah.
But I'm still liking it.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really fun. It's really tough, but it's really fun. Yeah.
What's been some of the standout highlights for you so far?
I think the obvious one that stands out is our collaboration with Lucy Bronze.
Yeah.
I think to connect with someone like that so early after starting the brand was just awesome for us. And again, if we want to kind of dissect how that happened, you know, this could be valuable for people. So it comes back to something we said earlier. It's like when we reached out to Lucy, was we ready for that at that particular time? Probably not. No, not at all. This girl's she's a superstar, you know. And I reached out to her.
Of course you did.
As you know, Dan, that's my thing.
I just want to acknowledge this guy's craziness, and I really admire it. And sometimes it makes me pull my hair out too. I've got more grey in the last 6 months, and I'm sure you've got something to do with it. But I love it as well because it's a part that I don't possess, and you've got some serious kahunas to do stuff like that. And it's like, what have you been doing now? What have you said now? And it's like, oh, we're doing this. I'm like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
So fair play to you for that. Sorry to cut you off.
That's all right. No, but do you know what? It's like when you believe in something that much, I just think, what is the worst that could happen?
Say no.
Exactly. You drop into someone's inbox. If anyone's thinking about messaging an influencer or an athlete or someone famous, just think in your head, what's the worst that could happen? They say no. They don't even see the freaking message.
Yeah, because they're getting that many inboxes anyway.
And don't hold any personal feelings towards that message. It is a numbers game, but you've only got to connect with the right person once, and it can change the whole trajectory of the journey. Think like that. And also don't be one of those generic dossers that drop. Caught you that one, didn't it? Yeah. Don't be a generic dosser who drops into a celebrity DM just saying, "Hey mate, can you share this for me?" or something like that. The tip here from me is always go for the give first. So what value can you bring to them? Because they've got hundreds, if not thousands of people messaging them every day.
Wanting something from them.
It's like, right, how can I offer value to this person? For us, it was, we can donate, we can gift products to people. Our products that are potentially going to help someone physically, mentally, help them in the sport, help them in the career, whatever that's happening. So in my head, it's like, I know what I'm offering this person is going to benefit them.
Mm.
So I saw Lucy had posted, it was something to do with Mental Health Week, and she did a post about going into cold water.
She was getting in the sea, wasn't she?
She was getting in the sea.
Yeah.
And she was talking about the benefits of it. And talk about serendipity and all this type of stuff. I just thought, right, I'm going to message her and tell her about what we're doing. It just so happens that I had a mutual friend with Lucy who were in my form at school, and Carrie, the lass, she played on the same team as Lucy, and she went to university with her. And so I used that bit of familiarity when I reached out, and then offered to send her a free ice bath, which, by the way, we didn't even have any made at this point. So
No, I love you. No, but that makes me pull my hair out because I like to be prepared.
Yeah.
But equally, it causes the effect of that is huge action.
Huge action. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, in a relationship as well, in a business relationship, there's times where, again, I've spoken about it before. We've got to have difficult conversations. We've got to call each other out.
Absolutely. We're good at that.
And we're good with that.
Yeah.
And we instantly sort that out as well. Like I'll challenge you, you'll challenge me back, and I'm like, it's not a bad shout actually.
Yeah.
I'm just going to check myself. I'll stand back, go for it. We've had a few conversations like that.
Yeah. And it's going to happen.
But I think that comes down to the personal development as well.
Yeah, it does. You've got to be okay with having difficult conversations whenever that may pop up, because it's all for the good of the brand.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
I want to touch on something, and I just want to give a shout out first as well to our previous partner, Kennedy
Power, yeah,
who started this brand with us. I want to give a shout out to her because this would not have happened without that start that we had.
Absolutely.
We were part of the journey.
Fully agree.
Unfortunately, when it comes to difficult conversations and things, it was just the lack of alignment, where we were going, and it were getting quite messy as a three.
Yeah.
It seemed like
it's hard enough to make it work with two.
Yeah.
And then there's three different personalities, 3 different visions, 3 different ways of working. Kennedy did she's done some awesome work for us in the early stages, and I just want to publicly thank her for what she's done. Unfortunately, it didn't work out between us, which were tough because me and Ken were personal friends growing up together. If you're watching on the video, Kennedy was responsible for the awesome branding that we've done. She did some social media work in the early days and branding, and like I say, just full credit to Kennedy for what she's done, and we wish her all the best in whatever she'll do next.
Yeah, absolutely. And difficult conversations do need to be had sometimes, because then it can affect the go forward and the trajectory of growth that's necessary.
Yeah.
So everyone has to be singing on the same hymn sheet. I think you have to recognise it as soon as possible and deal with it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
As well. So for anyone who, may take some value from that, if you're in a partnership, or a trio, whatever that is, make sure that you're having these conversations on a regular, and it's a bit of a breakdown and a bit of a brainstorm that you need to do on a regular, just to check in with where people are at. Communication's key.
Yeah.
And that's a lesson that we had to learn from.
Absolutely.
We didn't get that right.
We didn't get it right, and we held his hands up to that as well. But like I say, you've just got to just keep learning, you just got to do what's right for the brand and for the mission as well.
Take your personal stuff out of it.
The personal stuff has to go, which is as hard as that is. But anyway, get good at having difficult conversations. Take the personal stuff out of it, and just try and do as much due diligence on the people that might be getting involved with the brand as well. That's another key thing, because you've just got to be, and this is me talking from personal previous businesses experience, that you might end up with the wrong people on your team, and just don't ignore sort of any red flags that you might have. And I'm not talking about Kennedy there either. I'm talking about previous business partners that I've had in the past. You've got to be careful who you're getting into bed with. For for sure.
Contracts.
Yeah, contracts, yeah.
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 What is the biggest lesson that you've learnt so far since we launched?
I was thinking about this, Dan, and the biggest lesson that I've learnt so far is that the joy in all of this is the pursuit. It's not about what we're going to achieve in the future. It's that the full joy and enjoyment in building a brand, in being an entrepreneur, is the daily grind and striving towards making a difference for people. That's where the real happiness comes from me, and just connecting. I love connecting with people and spreading the word and helping people. That's where the joy is for me.
Yeah.
That's been the biggest lesson.
Nice.
What about yourself?
I'd agree with that. In terms of lessons, I would say get better at communicating.
Yeah.
Which I feel like I am doing. You know, what I've done previously is I've swallowed things, not literally, but
Gay.
you know, yeah. I've swallowed times where it's like that doesn't sit well with me, and I've let it ride.
Yeah.
And it manifests, and then it builds, and then when it builds, it can come out in a way that's, you know, fueled by anger.
Yeah.
I call it the lizard tongue.
Yeah.
It just goes and it just goes, whoa. Where does that come from? And that does not serve anybody or anything, and it doesn't serve building a brand.
No.
So I've had to, like cold water, connect with the breath. What's the best solution right now? What do I need to do? I need to speak about how I feel and just explain and articulate that this is not sitting right in this moment, and how do we get past it? What's the solution to move past it as fast as possible?
Yeah.
For me, that's been one of the biggest lessons, and I feel like I'm getting better at it.
Yeah.
So
fair play, mate.
Yeah, that's definitely one for me.
That's one for me as well. I'll have to agree with you on that one. And by the way, we missed out when you asked about tools for self-development. Cold water therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cold water therapy is up there with one of the best tools you can use as well.
Why?
Like you've just said, everything that cold water represents, it teaches discipline. It teaches calmness, which is probably the biggest thing for me. If you're ever feeling overwhelmed, or stuff's running through your mind, get in that cold water and everything slows down. It stops almost, and like I say, you just connect with your breath, and you start to think much more clearly.
It's not as bad as you anticipated either.
No.
I think that's one of the things, isn't it? You know, the thoughts can crush the action in anything.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're asking someone out on a date, or whether you're going to lift the 100 kilo deadlift, or your thoughts and the what ifs and what if I don't and what if I can't and all that floods your mind.
Yeah.
And it also does the same when you're about to get in the cold. You don't want to do it, and it's like, fucking hell, not today.
Yeah.
This is going to hurt.
Yeah.
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 And you get a 10 seconds worth of discomfort, and then it's like, wow, I'm alive now.
Yeah.
And
it's like you're scrambling through nettles and fucking thorns for 10 seconds, and then you suddenly break out and you're staring out onto a beautiful landscape of forests, of trees, or something beautiful. But it's just like, that's exactly what the process is like, innit? You scramble for 10 seconds and then you just break through.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. calm yourself down. You learn to reassure yourself.
Yeah.
You don't need an external source, figure, person to reassure yourself. And if you keep doing that on a daily, it's just building more confidence and resilience. And if you want to build a brand, that's something that you've got to do, I think.
Yeah, because it's, as you'll know, it's very much an emotional roller coaster. On a day-to-day basis, you'll probably experience 10 highs and 10 lows. It's just
like being a toddler in playground. Like, you'll be laughing 1 minute and crying next.
Yeah. So
and you're learning fast.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things for me, that's probably one of the biggest things that I'm trying to learn to do, which, I've not cracked it yet, but not to get too excited.
We never will we?
Not to get too low.
Yeah.
From the Buddhist teachings, take the middle path, always.
You make me laugh when you do that. I can see when something's going off, and you get so excited.
Yeah.
And then you go. It's so funny. I'm like, you need to calm down, don't you?
Yeah.
You're getting ice bath.
Yeah. Go all red.
If you're trying to build a big brand, can you do it on your own?
Absolutely not. No,
I don't think you can either.
Absolutely not. It might be industry specific. You might be able to fucking AI generate everything in the next 10 years or so. But right now, as it stands, if you're trying to build a brand, you need a team around you. That does not necessarily mean that you need a team straight from the off, because financially, all that type of stuff, it's hard to make it work.
But when you're scaling and
when it's growing, like for example for us right now, we're almost at full capacity at what we're doing, and we don't know everything. So what you need to do is find out who knows the thing that you need information on and what you need help with. So, for example, we're leaning into different experts in different areas right now, in terms of marketing, in terms of sales, in terms of manufacturing. It's like playing on a sports team, innit?
Yeah.
That's like saying, do you think you can win the World Cup? Do you think you could win the World Cup if you were playing against 11 men and it's just you on one team? Or women, sorry. And the answer is no. Because the weaknesses that you have, that we have as people, need to be strengthened by other areas and other people that you bring into the team. So yeah, I think you definitely need a team around you to build a brand.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah.
What are your strengths and weaknesses? Yours.
My strengths. I think I can naturally connect with people. Whether that's Mrs. Smith, whose windows I've been cleaning for the last 5 years, or it's Lucy Bronze, who is one of the best female footballers in the world. I just think that at the end of the day, we're all human beings.
Yeah, I was just about to say you've cracked that. Like,
yeah.
You are very, very pure in your intentions, and your ability to speak and show respect to others is matched across the board. And I'm going to say that instead of you, because I think it's better coming from someone else. But you're a beautiful soul, mate, and that is a really nice thing that you do there.
Thank you.
Because everyone's equal. We're all on the same team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't matter how old you are, what race you are, what gender you are, you treat everyone the same.
Yeah.
And that's a really nice thing to see.
Thank you, mate. And I think that's an essential thing, that if you're looking at starting a brand, you need someone on your team who is a connector, who's going to build relationships, and who's going to be networking on a daily basis, because again, it comes to bringing people along the journey with you, whether that's people who have your products or whether it's people who are working on the same team as you.
Yeah.
You need to be able to, connect with people. So I'd say that's probably one of my main strengths. One of my main weaknesses is, I'm going to say, sometimes impulsive. And what are you looking at, Jess? Impulsive. I get too excited sometimes. My time management is piss poor a lot of the time. But that's just, like I say, we've said it earlier, you've got to have that self-awareness. You've got to be self-aware of where your weaknesses are. And yeah, they're probably two of my main weaknesses. I can also be too trusting as well. So
yeah. It's a lovely trait, but unfortunately not everyone thinks the same.
Yeah.
Which I've learnt.
Yeah.
The school of hard knocks. So what about me? Going on, me mate.
Right, your strengths, Dan. You are a lot of the time the yin to my yang. You approach things with a lot of care and attention, and it's like you're coaching business, you're coaching clients. You go to a deeper level on a lot of things, and I think it's an awesome trait, and I love it. And a lot of people have said this in the area, that when we spoke to Matt last week, he said that you've always approached things from a holistic point of view, where it's not just physical health, it's mental health, and you've got really that approach of empathy towards a lot of people. And I'll return the favour and say that you're a beautiful soul as well, Matt.
Thank you very much.
That's why we've connected.
That's it. Isn't it?
What about your weaknesses?
Go for it. I'll ask you.
I think sometimes you can be overcautious.
Yeah.
And that may hold it back sometimes. I think, like me at the minute, we sometimes get overwhelmed because of the capacity that we've got right now.
Yeah. Speaking of lessons on that, I have to let go of what's happened and what's been and gone.
Yeah.
And not to let that define decisions that I make in the future.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it comes from, it's like when someone's been hurt in a relationship, they can tread very, very carefully, and sometimes you can end up pushing another partner away because you're not fully healed. And it's a little bit the same thing about business.
Yeah. So
it's about, and again, the yin to the yang thing. You're more of on the trusting side, and I think that's where it balances itself out, because you've called me out on that a few times.
Yeah.
And I've had to get with the program, and I agree with you that it's me, and I need to get over it. And likewise, if you're shooting out of the blocks a little bit too fast, I'm like, yo, come back here a sec.
Yeah, it works really well.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. It's good just to talk about these things, because when you speak them out, you start to really recognise what the faults are, and then you can take the steps to put it right.
Yeah,
man,
that's the one.
Beautiful.
So top tips.
Okay.
If this conversation's impacted someone and they're like, yep, I'm buying into this, you know, I'm wanting to build a brand, I think, give me 3 top tips. What do they need to do? Like, what are actionable tips, like, right now?
It's got to always start with why. Why do you want to start a brand? Really ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question and then ask it 3 more times. Why? When
you get an answer, another one.
Yeah.
But why? Yeah.
All the way to the core.
Because I want to help people.
Yeah.
But why?
Because I'm insecure.
Oh, but why?
Yeah. So before you start to plan anything, ask yourself why you want to do it. That's the first top tip. Because that always is your anchor point. Like we said before, and I think if you are going into something that you're passionate about, the why will be a very strong why if it's anchored to something that's genuine and authentic. So try and find something in your life that you can have that real strong anchor point back to. And I think you're already going to be ahead of 99% of the competition who are just out there to make a quick buck or whatever. Number 2, steps to creating a brand. You need to look at some of the fundamentals that go into actually starting a brand. So this is like the planning stage. So you need to create your brand guidelines. So the stuff, what people name this as is the brand guidelines are almost the holy book of the business. It's what you always refer back to in times of struggle, or if you're unsure of anything, you always go back to the brand guidelines. So the first part of the guidelines is, who's your target audience? What customers are you going to be talking to? Who do you want to approach with the messages that you're going to be putting out? For me and you, Dan, that was fucking easy because it were us.
Yeah.
So we were the target audience. So if you can find that, I think you put yourself at another advantage when you can speak to someone like yourself, because it's genuine, it's authentic. Yeah. You know their pain points.
We hear people say it all the time, don't you? Like, what's your avatar? Tell me your avatar. Like, what's their name? What do they look like? What? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You're looking at him.
Yeah, it's like, I am me.
Yeah.
We are like this. We want the solution to help us to stay healthy long term. Yeah. We want it for us and we want it for other people too. We don't just want to keep it to ourselves. We want to spread that as well. Yeah. So we are go. You know?
Yeah.
So do you think you need to put your own wants and needs into that building the avatar? Because I honestly do.
I think you do. I think it helps. I think it massively helps. Because otherwise you're going to have to put yourself in someone else's shoes.
Yeah, well, you're just making up something false, aren't you?
Yeah, unless a part of your team is, I don't know. I'd just say, if you can relate to something yourself, the message is going to be clear, it's going to be genuine, and people are more likely to connect with it. So the target audience is the first part of the guideline. Then you've got your brand identity, which is more the visual things of the brand. It's your logo, it's your name, it's the colour scheme, it's the brand story. This is all things that people see when they're looking at your brand. When you say branding, I think a lot of people just think it's a logo. Did you used to think that?
Yeah.
You know, when people say, "Oh, what's your branding like?"
Yeah.
I'd think, "Oh yeah, the logo is alright actually." Yeah.
Nice colours.
Yeah. But brand is a much deeper thing than just a logo. It's a brand represents a belief system
And a feeling.
a feeling. While we're on brand there, I heard that Alex Hormozy talking about this. Where did brand originate from? And it was from like cattle farmers back in the day, when they used to stamp their own cattle so that other farmers and stuff would be able to identify who it belonged to when they saw different, the different animals. And that's what branding is. It's like, who do I belong to? What belief system do I belong to? So there's a bit of a history lesson.
I like a bit of that. I like a bit of that.
So yeah, brand identity, logo, name, colour scheme, story. It's all about the
Ethos.
yeah, that as well. Yeah, definitely. Brand voice. That's probably what you just said there, Dan. The ethos, the communication, the tone of language that's used in the brand. So, like, if someone's got a clear intention of being like funny in their communication, then for it to be an authentic brand, that tone has to remain throughout the whole brand. Like on your website, the copy on the products, it's a tone of voice, it's a communication.
It's how you keep showing up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of people kind of struggle, and I have as well, with my personal training, because I've got a lot of different sort of facets to my personality and moods. Sometimes I can be super deep, and sometimes I can just have banter and be funny. Like some people, it's funny now because like some people who have been coaching for a while, they get to know that there's an element of me that's very serious, very passionate. I want to understand things a little bit deeper, and then I want that person to understand it a bit more, so they've got a more balanced overview. Yeah. But then sometimes I'll just be in a funny mood. Yeah. And I'll just say like, "Did you not rub peanut butter on your forehead to help you lose fat?" and they know that I'm taking the piss because I am facetious as well. Yeah. But that's been a struggle for me in terms of who's showing up today. Yeah. Which Dan is showing up today. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know how to put this across so that becomes an identity. And I feel like I've got that now with this. Yeah. Do you know? And I've always struggled there because I didn't know who were going to show up, and I didn't know what message I was going to put out there because there's so many different angles of health and well-being. Yeah. Strength, performance, fitness, nutrition. I wasn't just banging the same drum. Yeah. Yeah. But here I am. Yeah. Yeah, and that helps with being able to be more consistent with your content and what you're putting out there. Yeah. And hopefully people can see that we're serious, we've got a serious message, we're on a serious mission, but we like to have fun as well. We like to be silly bastards. As you've seen on the story sometimes, if anyone's seen that. Yeah. We like a bit of bants. Yeah. The last thing under brand guidelines is your mission and values. That's a big one. And this can change, I believe, just with growth. But having that kind of North Star mission of the brand, something that's way ahead, is the thing that dictates what you do daily if you work backwards from it. Yeah. So having that North Star is an important one. And then the values as well, what you stand for as a brand. Again, every decision that you make or that you go to make can always come back to
is that in line with the brand values that we stand for? You know, so that's the brand guidelines in a nutshell. I think that's a really good foundation if someone's looking at starting a brand. Follow them steps, and you've got a solid foundation for a good brand there. So just to round that up, you want your target audience, who you're going to be communicating to, your brand identity, logo, name, colour scheme and story, your brand voice, what tone of communication you're going to be talking to, and then your mission and values, the North Star mission and values of the brand. That's I think we said 3 tips there. But do you think that covers 3 tips, or should we give another one?
That's a lot of flavour though. The 3 big players.
Yeah.
And I think let's not overwhelm.
Okay. So what were the first one?
Unless you want to add something to that.
Yeah. What were the first one?
The mission and the
why.
The why.
Okay. Yeah. So number 1 was why. Number 2 was get your brand guidelines all set up.
Yeah.
I think number 3,
the tone of communication and who shows up and what's the message, and repeating that message.
Yeah, definitely. I think number 3 is I want to drop a little nugget that I've found really helpful in terms of what we're doing, and that is, who's got your target audience? Think about that.
Yeah.
And it's all about connecting with who already has your future audience.
Which is why we're going to Athex Games.
Yeah.
Which is why we're going to Glacier Games and why we're a sponsor of 2024. This is why we do those things.
Yeah.
And it's hard because it's weekends and they're long days.
Mm-hmm.
We're having time away from the family.
Mm-hmm.
But then it comes back to, again, the why.
Yeah.
And then it's reverse engineering.
Yeah.
Who's got our target audience? Those guys do.
Yeah.
Let's lean into that.
Let's lean in, offer some value, and form connections with people who have potentially got your target audience. That can look like say Athex Games, Glacier Games. These guys attract athletes, people who are active athletes who need recovery, who look after their health and wellness. It can be in the form of influencers, professional athletes, celebrities who are in line with your brand and the values of the brand. They've got your potential audience who follow them already. So work out ways to connect with them people and leverage people's audience. It can be Facebook groups.
Yep.
Like, we've managed to get almost exclusivity in a few different Facebook groups who have already got our target audience, and you do that by offering value to people and connecting that way. So I think that's a 3rd top tip for building a brand.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed that.
That was great, mate. We should do this more often.
We should podcast. No, that was good. And I think it's nice to have this dynamic every now and then where I ask you the questions.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're going to be a value too, my friend.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed listening to that. I hope that has given you some insight on how to start, where to start, some steps to take to building your own brand and developing yourself as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And enjoy the ride if you're about to embark on it.
Take the step. Don't wait.
Yeah, because we're getting old. One day you'll look back and you'll be like, shit.
I've got grey hairs.
No, don't go there. That's because of you.
Right, peace.
Hope you enjoyed that, guys, and we will see you again soon.
Peace.